Well,
Oh,
it's good to see
okay.
you all. It's good to see you.
Yeah. Hi, Mirko.
Hello, hi, how are you?
Fine.
We'll see what kind of a turnout we get here. And
Hmm. I
um,
thought I thought there were going to be quite a few coming actually tonight.
well, I rescheduled it. I know that it was supposed to be
Yeah.
yesterday, and
Yeah, I know.
something came up. I couldn't make it, so I made it for today, and we'll see.
Hmm.
We'll see what comes up here.
Yeah, yeah, because I had it scheduled for last night too.
Yeah,
And
right.
then I wasn't sure whether I could make it tonight, but here I
Well,
am.
I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here.
Yeah.
Where you
Okay.
from, Mirko?
Originally from Italy, but I'm based in London.
Oh,
Hmm.
okay. All right. All right.
Okay.
Well, that's good.
I'm
Both now, Mary, you're near there. Where are you from,
I'm
Mary?
in the Netherlands.
Netherlands. Okay, yeah.
In the Netherlands.
Oh,
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So all
worldwide.
over the place, all over the place.
Oh,
Did you hear about Yvonne,
no,
Vincent?
what happened to Yvonne?
She fell and she smashed her whole hand and wrist.
Oh no.
Yeah, so she's waiting for surgery. So I don't know whether she's going to be here tonight.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh, she fell down?
and she fell. Yeah, she tripped over her own feet or something, or she lost her balance. I'm not sure.
Oh man.
Yeah, so she was
Well,
due to go to the fair in Washington D.C. That's
oh,
what she was supposed to go there, so she couldn't make it there either. So
oh, jeez. Oh, that's too
yeah,
bad.
she's in really bad pain. Yeah,
Oh, jeez.
yeah. So
Well, I'll have to email her and say hi and
yeah.
get well. Hi,
Hmm.
John. How are you?
Hi, John.
Good morning. How's everybody doing?
Good, good, good,
Fine.
good.
Good. Yeah, I just got
Uh,
up late. I'm
mhm.
Well, this is good. This is good. We'll see what kind of people we get in here. Maybe we won't have any. Just the three of us.
Hmm.
That'll be fine. But
Yeah,
already.
um, I had to reschedule, so that threw a curveball into people. I know. But
yeah,
either
good.
way,
Yeah,
like I said, what we'll do is we'll send some healing energy to Avan.
yeah,
And
yeah.
So I was a little late. So Yvonne's not doing good.
she tripped, she fell, and she broke her hand.
Oh
And
man.
a hand and a wrist. Yeah, all the
Oh,
bones.
that's
Mm.
no good at all.
No,
No.
no.
Yeah, very painful. So yeah, we'll see. So I'm not sure whether she'll come on tonight.
That
Or
happened to Linda. She fell once. My wife, just fell down the stairs
mm,
from the second floor to the first floor. And
mm,
she um landed head first into the wall on the first floor,
yeah. Oh,
plaster
that's bad.
wall. So
Mm.
she put a hole in that plaster wall, a nice round
Well,
circle, boom.
yeah.
And they don't think she had a concussion though, and she's okay. This was a couple of years ago now, and
Mm.
so yeah, you never know. These people fall.
Yeah. I told you, Yvonne, I know exactly how she feels because I was about 2 years ago, I was at my son's house and he has a tiny little plinth going from inside to the outside, and I tripped over that, and in that one hand I smashed all the bones in the wrist, and
Oh,
they had to put screws and plates and everything in, and they can't take
oh,
them out, otherwise it'll fall to pieces. But then 3 weeks later, I stepped outside the front door, and I lost my balance. And I tried to shield my broken hand, and I fell on the other one.
oh
And
no,
I ended up breaking that one too.
oh no, you're
Yeah.
running out of hands.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh
yeah.
gosh,
And I previously broken my foot, and the doctor says to me, "Listen, your card's full now."
yeah, oh yeah, 1 foot left.
Yeah.
All your limbs
Yeah.
were broken.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just how it happens. You try to shield one thing and the other one breaks.
Yeah, that's
Um,
true.
mm.
Well,
So
well, I'm glad
I
you're
I
okay now.
Oh yeah, yeah, it heals. I don't really have any questions tonight, Vincent, but I'm just going to sit and listen, maybe learn things.
Yeah, well, we'll just talk.
Mm.
Yeah. Gilda, good to see you.
Hi, Gilda.
You're on mute. There you go.
Mm.
So it's good to see you. We got people coming in here slowly but surely.
Trickling in.
Yeah, yeah. Slowly does it.
We're gonna be I just seeing we don't have anybody really with any questions right now yet anyway.
Yeah.
We're gonna be doing we don't do that many festivals anymore. We used to do probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 a year when we were really busy. Now we're just doing one, and that's coming up in a couple weeks, and that's going to be I recorded it last year.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Theosophy Fest.
Yeah.
And we're gonna be doing that again, and that's coming up in a couple weeks. So I'll be recording that again too, and
Right.
I'm looking forward to it. That's at the same place I'm a house reader at, but
Okay.
the store is just a small section, like you saw in that video. If you saw the video,
Yeah.
it's acres of land there, and it's a beautiful place. And there's about 100 vendors probably going to be there, and so we're always in there. And we got 2 tents, and one of them is the reading tent. And last year it was just me being the reader. We had another reader scheduled to work with me, but he had trouble, he couldn't make it. This year we have 2 other readers with me in there. Linda and I used to read it alone, but she sells jewelry in the second tent now. So they're side by side tents, and Linda has jewelry in one tent that she sells, and I take care of the reading tent on the other, right next to it. And this year there'll be 3 readers, me and 2 others, and Linda's still going to do the jewelry. The jewelry worked out well, so people are always interested in jewelry, so it's an attraction to come on by the tent. You know,
Does she also have her lotions and potions with her?
well, she got her sprays. Yeah, she sells her sprays in the store. They buy it. They have them in the store there.
But you don't take them on the festival.
No, we tell them to go in the store and buy them. You know, and yeah, she just made an order for them. They probably made it for Theosophy Fest, and she just had I think she sold them 50 bottles of 50 sprays, and they're getting stocked up for the festival. And but yeah, she only makes them for that store. She doesn't sell them anywhere else. Just there.
Exclusive then, isn't it?
Yeah. She doesn't
Yeah.
want to sell a bunch of sprays. She doesn't want to do that. She could probably sell them. They're very good quality sprays, but it's a lot of work. And the whole house smells like eucalyptus and sage. And I can't even be in the house when she does them, because she has all this ritual that she does when she's making them. So I call her Madame Rue from potion number 9.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And you know, she's in there doing her thing. And but they sell good, and she does a good job with it.
I tell you, Vincent, that shows your age. Love potion number 9.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's
I
right.
get it too.
Yeah, I forgot who did that song.
I know, yeah. What was it?
God, who did Love Potion?
Was it Ricky Nelson? No.
No. I think it was a black group. Black Room.
What's Black Room?
And gosh, I forgot now. But yeah, I took my troubles down to Madame Rue. You know that gypsy with the gold cap tooth?
Okay, love potion number 9 says here.
Yeah.
Performed by the Clovers.
The Clovers.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember. You know, they must have not done too many hits.
Yeah, I've never heard of the Clovers.
Yeah.
And 1959. Whoa.
Yeah,
And then it
it was
was
a long time ago.
Yeah.
The Searchers recorded it in 1964. I never heard of them.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I remember the
this.
Searchers. I remember the Searchers singing it. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the one in 1964 must have been the more popular version.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
not to me. Not to me. Yeah, I remember the original. That was a big hit
Yeah.
by the Clovers. It was a big hit. I mean, I was at that time I was 7 years old, so I mean I wasn't really listening to the radio. But you know how hit songs they stay for a while.
Yeah.
So you figured 5 years it's still playing on the radio. I'm listening. I'm
Mm.
hearing it. You know, and
Mm.
so yeah, yeah.
Well, I'm going to be doing a Healing Arts Festival with tarot readers and stuff in October. I haven't done that in a long time.
Oh,
Well, I'm
okay.
selling my artwork, but there's going to be psychics and healers and tarot readers and you know.
You gonna read
Or-
too, or you're just gonna sell your
I'm
art?
not. I'm just going to do my art, and but I'm kind of going to feel it out. I've been wanting to try to read again at at events, but I don't know. I'm not real confident. I used to. I guess I was more confident, 20 years ago, but I'm working my way to getting back. So at least doing the festival kind of, I'm hoping to kind of meet some other readers and, stuff like that.
Yeah, right. Yeah. If you see another tent with readers in it, go talk with them.
Yeah, yeah. It's nice. It'll be all day, like 10 to 5. So that's a nice long day to get to know
Sure.
other people at the event. And, I haven't done any of those in years. I used to do them all the time.
All right. Well, I mean, we like I said, we used to do them too, but the ones we did were more than one day. They were usually 3 or 4 days, and they were 12-hour events every day. 12 to midnight. So it was a lot of work, and but I miss it though. I do miss it. But if I were to do it today, I wouldn't do all the bells and whistles that we had. I would just put the tent up, couple of tables, and lights in the tent, and that would be it. A banner. But we always had all this extra stuff in there. Too much work.
Yeah.
Too much work bringing it down, pulling it down. And I would just try. Matter of fact, I would like to try to do like a festival and see how light I could actually go. Just a tent.
And one pack.
Yeah, a tent, a card table or a small table,
Hold on a
2
second.
folding chairs.
I need
I-
to.
I'd like to do that and just to see. I could put it on a 2-wheeler,
One
wheel it right into the fair,
Mm-hmm.
and this way I could leave whenever I wanted to. Just pack it up, and wheel it right out. Because if you're doing a fair like that, you can't bring a car into that area. You got to pack it up. You got to pack up, and the day before the fair starts, you got to bring your tent in, and tables and all that stuff, because then they close the street. It's just a midway for pedestrians then to walk down the festival. You can't bring cars in there until Sunday night at midnight. After it's closed. And
Yeah.
So if you want to leave on Saturday, you're gonna have to carry that stuff by hand out to the car, which is a good 2-3 blocks away, making trips, and it's just not, it's not worth it.
The hassle.
But
Hi, Michael.
hi, Michael, how are you?
Hi.
You snuck in on me there.
Yeah.
People are straggling in. We're talking about festivals and fairs. If anybody's I'm recording this so people will be able to see it. And if anybody's thinking about trying to tackle some try to read pro, that's a good way to start. either a new age bookstore where you're a house reader or just try doing a couple festivals. Even if it's a one-day thing. It's a good way to start because those type of readings are usually pretty casual. People, they're just there to have fun. And it could be fun. It could be fun for you.
I have another one coming up on the 16th and 17th of September, a weekend one again.
Are you going to
A big
go?
one. Yeah, a big one. Yeah, it's one of the biggest ones here in the Netherlands, and
Okay.
it's 4, 5, 6 times a year. So up to now, I've been invited in again. So
You're good. Is it indoor
yeah,
or outdoor?
indoors. Yeah, it's indoors. Yeah,
Okay.
and there's about 150 vendors, and half are sales and Reiki and things like that, and then half of them are readers, tarot readers or
Yeah.
oracle readers of that. But I keep getting the same people come back from the last time, so which
Yeah.
is good. Yeah,
Yeah. It's usually the same people come back every year.
yeah,
So if you read them last year, they'll be looking for you again.
yeah. So that's good. Yeah,
Yeah, it is good.
yeah.
You'll have people. I know I've done those things, and I've had people come up to my tent and say, "I just want to let you know everything you told me last year was true," and they walk away. And I don't
Yeah,
know what they're
good.
talking about, but I don't remember reading them. I said,
No.
"Oh, okay, well, that's good to know. Thank you."
Yeah,
And if I was wrong, they're not going to bother coming up to me at all.
yeah.
They're not going to bother with
True.
that guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I said that last time too. If someone said to me, "Yeah, I came last year and you were reading and that," and I'm sorry. I said, "I remember your face, but I don't know the reading. As soon as I finish with the reading and you leave, I let it go. I don't remember the reading."
Right. I'm the same way. I don't even remember faces.
Yeah,
I mean, I might see somebody's faces. Oh, you look familiar, but
yeah.
like they say, well, I forget names, but I never forget a face. I forget faces too. I forget everything.
Oh, well, but you can't remember all the readings you do. It drive you crazy.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you get good at just saying, "Oh yeah, hi, how are you?"
Yeah.
Like you remember, I just okay.
Mirko, do you do any readings?
I know I'm just starting studying it actually, the tarot. Yeah. So I'm going through the books of Vincent, and yeah, it's very intriguing because the approach, it's not as similar as an art form or approach of design. The principles basically are similar. And so it's interesting to have this kind of parallel between like learning, for example, a musical instrument in a way. So
Okay.
you have notes, and then you have chords, and then you have structures underneath. Yeah, it's in a way similar. So at the moment, I'm studying the single cards.
Okay. Yeah.
So to me, it's like studying the single notes and try to press a note in different way to highlight, different harmonics underneath. And then I will start, playing 2 cards together, 3 cards together, and combining this thing. Yeah.
That's a nice analogy. I like that analogy with music.
Yeah.
I think that's really good. I think because you're right. There's a certain amount of notes. I think it was there 7 notes.
Yeah, 12 or 7, yeah.
And all the different combinations you can make with those 7 notes. All this work that's been done with wonderful pieces of music, and the way what you can do with those notes is all these combinations. You can look at the cards in pretty much the same way and say, okay, there's 78 cards. There's more than 7 notes, but you can see all the different variables that can come up with once you have that structure in place.
Exactly.
Knowing those cards, and it's amazing.
And I have a question regarding the cards, if I may.
Sure.
maybe you can be clarifying the difference between 9 and 10 and the word, these 3 cards.
What the difference between those 3 cards?
Yeah.
All right, well, first of all, I'll say right from the beginning, I don't think there are any such thing as a correct answer to what this card means. You know, I think it's my interpretation of the card might be different than somebody else's. So what I see with the world card, I think I have as peace and harmony. I see a very positive card, happy, in a good healthy space or time in your life. The ultimate goal, a finish, accomplishment. And I can see, if I look at it as accomplishment, you can see where it drifts. I just drifted off with about peace and harmony or accomplishment. It's a lot of happy things, the world card. So to me, I see the 10 as an accomplishment too. And I also see 9 as a very peaceful and harmonious card. So I almost could say the world card reminds me of a combination. You can see the world card encompassing both 9 and 10. Where I think 9 and 10 get specific. You've accomplished this, and 10 is more, you've completed this. Just because you've accomplished something doesn't mean you completed it.
Oh, okay.
Because you could accomplish something, let's say you accomplish having a good relationship, and you get married. And there will be a completion to it someday. You could become a widow or a widower. That's a completion.
So it's an ending point, you know.
Yeah, but some endings are real good endings.
Yeah, of course.
You know, I use the example of retirement. You work at a job for 50 years or 20 years or whatever, and then you retire. Well, that's a completion. And so that's a wonderful completion. And you can even look at marriage as a completion. You can say, oh, it's a completion of my single years when I was single. So there's we have a lot of completions in our world, in our life that we go through. Some of them are more important than others, but they are accomplishments. And attainment, I just see as attainment as acquiring something. You can attain something bad. You know, if I just got diagnosed with cancer, I've attained cancer. So, you know, so people think attainment means something good all the time. Not necessarily.
Okay.
But you've acquired something. And usually it's a positive thing. You know, I mean, I always look at the 9 of Swords and people say it's a sad card. And I say, well, how do you see that as attainment? And I say, well, to me, that picture, that snapshot of that meaning with that 9 of Swords on a Rider-Waite deck is attainment of a new awareness or coming out of denial, awareness of some sad truth, coming to terms with something that I've been ignoring or been refusing to look at. And that's how I see that card being represented as an aspect of attainment. You've attained an awareness that's not a happy thing for you, but it's a necessary thing for your growth.
Would you read it the same way with the Marseille deck that doesn't feature that connotation?
Yeah, well, that's what I do, Gilda. That's what I think helped me when I saw the Rider-Waite, is because to me, attainment is 9s are all sorts of attainments. There's attainments of something good. There's attainments of something bad. And the 9 of Swords to me always could be either one, depending on how the reading's going and what else is around, what the question is and how I'm perceived. But in the Rider-Waite deck shows a snapshot picture of a negative attainment.
So the last that so I took him to
I think
I think that's
is-
John, isn't it?
Let me see here,
John.
'cause it's
Yeah.
in
Is that
my
John?
emails.
Wise
I took her
guy.
to the forest
We're
bill
hearing-
that first.
You're in a room,
Because
John.
that was the closest, and I gotta see if I
I'm
can
gonna mute
find
him.
my.
Okay, I muted him.
That's it.
So if someone, I understand it, but if someone has never seen a Rider-Waite deck and they only use Marseille, would you see Nine of Pentacles and also give it a available container for a negative connotation?
Yeah,
So you do this by looking at surrounding cards.
yes, and also what I'm getting from a feeling, that's where the intuition I think comes in. The question being asked me, the circumstance that they're in, the other cards that are in the reading. Is this a negative attainment? Is this a positive attainment? A Nine of Pentacles could be a bankruptcy. You've attained bankruptcy, you know, or I mean, it doesn't, if you want to use the suit as a physical thing, but it could also mean you just bought a new house, or you just got a new job or promotion. But you've attained something here. But depending on the question, and I like to use the intuition. Here's how I like to use intuition. To me, this is the way it really works well. First of all, I look at things from a real down-to-earth, structured standpoint, common sense, logic, and I try to make a story here with those cards by reading those cards that are showing me something that's very grounded. And I look for, then I look into what part of this aspect of this reading do I have a hunch about something here that I think I should look at intuitively. I think if you look at your reading in steps about all the, like with me, I have checkpoints. You know, what is your question? What's your asset? What do you got going for you? What opportunities do you have coming up? What's the big picture? If I look at all these and I see that what this person and I are talking about, I might look at this something about that as a hunch and something, one of those positions, just one position, and say, you know what, normally I would see this from a common sense standpoint as you should do this. But I got a hunch here. And I think I'm getting a feeling from what I'm seeing here with these cards, the feeling I'm getting from you sitting across from me, I think you ought to play it this way instead. So I think if you can just get intuitive on one particular position, you could do a lot with that. And I think a lot of people get overwhelmed with tarot. They think that they got to get intuitive about every position on the spread. No, you're looking at a situation. You're talking to somebody who's got a problem or trying to find an answer. Talk to them. Now, where's that intuition coming? Where's it hitting? What's screaming at me here? This one over here. And you could ask them about it, you know.
Yeah, I believe that's what separates the boys from the men and the girls from the women.
That might, okay.
Sort of a,
Yeah.
and can you clarify your position on intuition and instinct?
Instinct and intuition.
Mhm.
Well, I think they're two separate things. Instinct we understand pretty well, where intuition we don't know that much about it. Let's say somebody came to me and they're saying, are we going to have a baby this year? We're trying to have a baby. Are we going to have a baby this year? Common sense is going to ask me, okay, are you too close? Are you seeing each other? Or is he always out of town with his work or whatever? Are you too close? Good relationship? Everything fine? Get that checkpoint out of the way. More than likely they are. And then you could ask, okay, have you tried any enhancement aids for fertility? What have you done anything with that? And if they have, get that out of the way. Then you could ask, is there a lot of stress? Which almost goes back to are you too close again? And they might say, well, okay, well, there is a lot of stress right now because he's always at work. And by the time he comes home, he's a wreck. Well, then we'll go back to that first question. Are you too close? Well, maybe in the heart you are, but in the mind you're not, because he comes home, he's shot. He doesn't want to talk to nobody. So that becomes instinctively, I could say, if you want to use instinctively there, you could say the relationship is not a very close one. Because even if there's a physical relationship there, it's not in the heart, it's not in the spirit. They're not bonding that way. And I think that could have a lot to do with conception. That would be intuitive or instinctive. I mean, maybe it's instinctive. I don't know. I don't know if you can really, I don't know if I can really just explain the difference between the two. But you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. You just blended it. Yes, I know exactly what you're saying. I realize what you're saying.
I'll tell you what,
you blended both.
Okay.
And you do this instinctively. You do it just fluidly. I'm just pointing it out for those who do not separate the two, and they might need to in order to get in touch with their fluidity. I've seen one of your videos. I mean, I've seen many. The one you were doing a Marseille deck. It's a very colorful deck. I wonder which deck you're using. The cards seem thick. You do, and you're explaining one Celtic cross, and just by watching that versus reading a book,
okay,
you go around and then you're just doing a general question that you choose, and all of those layers that I just pointed out, layers to look for. You do them just as a matter of the way that you read.
Okay.
So you layer them, instinct, and then you start doing the spiral thing all the way to, as you just mentioned, and you go back to there was no resonance between heart and mind.
Yeah.
So you got to that, and
well,
within your way of, and that's those things cannot be taught. They must be realized by the person whose perception is observing. So
okay.
I just wanted to point that out. You do it already. I mean, this is just what. So we found that, yeah.
Well, that's nice. That's nice. And I also say that with experience too, you start to see. It's really interesting how, and I've said this before, everybody seems to have the same problems or the same concerns. So you're going to find the same question being asked by a lot of different people. Are we going to have a baby is a common one. Are we going to get married is obviously a common one. Am I going to get the job? I'm applying for a job. I'm going to get the promotion. Am I going to pass my exams? These are questions should I start a business? So you could probably take a dozen different topics and say most of my readings will be one of these 12 topics. And so you'll see patterns in there. So somebody trying to have a baby, okay. I know people who have tried to have children, and because of the trying so hard, that heart energy was being blocked as a stressful thing. And so they finally gave up and they adopted. And as soon as they adopted, she gets pregnant because now the pressure's off and bam. So that shows me that tension can really block things like that. And So that's why I ask: is there how's thing? Is there a lot of stress at home? Because I think that blocks it from from experience with that particular issue, or a job promotion. You could take the same find things with that you could look into, but you start to see patterns with people, what works for them, what happened with them later on, and you see where this person's going more than likely in this, from what I've seen from other situations like this. Here's where you're headed, or here's what's blocking you. Here's a good chance this is what's blocking you, or try to free this up, because it seems to be something that's common with people being blocked. And I've had people say, I would say to them, when they sit down, I would say, how's relationships? And they say, how did you know? Well, more than I could just tell by looking at you, you're here for a relationship, And so, I mean, most of them are. So, I mean, how would you know that? Well, it's pretty obvious. Most people, it's a good bet. The way you look, I think you're a relationship person here, sitting across them. They don't. They assume it's a mind thing. No, it's just repetition of doing this so many times. You start to know. You start to spot it real quick.
But it is an ability, isn't it? It doesn't come just because
No, it
you're
is.
practicing. Some people can be practicing something forever and never see it because they've got, something else going on.
What?
So you have that ability. That's a gift, and it's very interesting that you do not read the suits, coins, hearts, or coins, cups, or whatever. But in reality, you do. You do it in your intuition and your instinct. You're just not writing it on the book, but you definitely go there.
I throw it in. Yeah, I throw it in.
Yeah.
But as far as intuition, I'll give you a good example with that. I still read the person. She's a good person, good friend, and her daughter was going to nursing school, and one course was on the bacteria, let's say, and she was really having a hard time with it. And if she finished school this year, she could be a nurse next year. She's graduated, but she's got to get through this exam, this one course on bacteria. And if she fails that course, that'll be on her record forever, So she's thinking. So she went to her boss. I mean, to the professor. Having the mother came to me about this concern for her daughter. She said, should my daughter drop out of the class and take it over again next year and delay her career as a nurse for another year, not graduate this year, drop out of the course before the exam, take the whole course over again next year, and pass for sure? Or should she go ahead and try to pass the exam now with risk of failure on that exam? So that's what the mother wanted to know. And so I had her talking. I said, well, tell me more about this. How's she doing with other classes and stuff like this? And she said she went to the professor, the nurse, well, the girl went to the professor and said, I'm thinking about dropping out of the class and just taking the whole class over again next year, and to take it all, to get a good grade. And the professor said to her, why would you do that? Just study. Why would you do that? Just study. So the mother's telling me that's what the professor said to her. And because the professor said that to her, I knew that professor just plays a hard game. He comes on hard to everybody. Grades tough, comes on strong. But she knew enough to pass that course, to pass that class. He said, well, if he was concerned about, if he agreed with her that she was really doing bad, he would have said to her, you know, that might not be a bad idea. I know you're struggling with this. Take it over next year and you'll do great because you took it over, you know a lot of it because you took it once. You'd be in a better place to do that. I agree. It'll be a good idea. But instead he says to her, why would you do that? Just study for the test. That means he knows her and she knows what she's doing. Plus, she likes to get A's. You know, she likes to get perfect scores. So everything else, she always gets an A. That's another thing the mother told me. So, okay, well, maybe she's going to get a B in this thing. On this, who cares? She got a pass. You know. So little things you start to connect the dots with. And I took a business. I used to have bookmarks that I would give to people with my contact information on. I took one of the bookmarks and I took a marker and I wrote in there, don't drop out, you'll pass. And I signed it. I said, give this to your daughter. You give it to her. And she did. And she did pass. And she's a nurse now for probably 10 years. You know, so it was a while ago. But that was a lot of it. Some of that was intuition. When the mother told me that the professor said that why would you take it over? Just study. I felt intuitively that what he was basically saying to her is, you'll do fine. Don't worry about it. And I felt it strong enough to write that on that bookmark and give it to her. I said, I dated it too. I said, you'll pass, don't drop out. And I gave it to her. And she did.
Yeah, right there you took the heaviness out of her, the stress that she had that she was caught in.
But also though, but with what made
the confidence, you gave her confidence.
Well, I was sure about it. And that was intuitive.
Mm-hmm.
Because I would have never wrote that on a bookmark and given it to her, because if she fails now, I'm going to look terrible. But intuitively, I knew what I was feeling. You're going to pass this. Just do it, you know.
Yeah, you're good at piercing the veil and connecting. You call it connecting the dots. Yeah. But in reality, you have, not everyone has this kind way of viewing how they go about in the world, they're making decisions, etc. So that they can connect from some outer field or this or the little thing, and suddenly there's a click. And so that's what I would refer to as intuition. The gut is the stirring that sends you here, there. Well, and intuition is once it becomes known in your mind, in your mind, your awareness of knowing that you have the possibility of acting on it. Now, share a little exercise I did. You were doing a Celtic.
I wanted to mention one last thing before
you. Yeah,
is that it's anybody can do that. It's just a matter of learning that you can see it. Now you got to pay attention for it. And before, most people don't even bother trying to pay attention to it. So learning how to see is key. You know.
Yeah, that requires a lot. Sometimes it requires many aspects, like meditate, cleaning up your inner psyche in order to have clarity, in order to be able to see. Right. Obviously, everyone can be illuminated, no doubt. But how do you get there, and what gifts do you have now? Which is why this now, that's kind of interesting. But you were having a video, and I watched you were doing a Celtic cross, the same one with the Marseille, in which you cut it in 3. You shuffle it on your own, and then you cut it in 3. you ask them to cut in three, and then you put the top one over.
Right.
And you shuffled it around. You said, well, I don't know. You said what you were looking for. And I said, okay, if it were me, according to the way that I would choose this one. And you chose the same one
Oh,
out of the three. You mentioned all three work. The swords, the Knight of Swords works, all three work, but I'm going to choose this one. So means that the way you connect how you came about choosing that one, my being was able to do this, to come make
yeah,
that realization also. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And I could explain why I chose that versus the other two. And you probably could obviously can do so as well, except you don't really go there. It's not necessary.
Oh.
But so that since there's a resonance in anyone can do it, but everyone has different ways of coming into realizations of their clarity.
Sure.
If not, we will all be, mechanical robots. So yeah, so I tested it. I tested it, and I thought that was really wonderful. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, that's interesting. I never thought of that. Like you're saying, I'm gonna choose this one. Let's see what he's choosing. And it was ended up being the same one. I guess people, now that I think about it, if I do any more of those, I might even mention that to people. I'm gonna tell me which one you're gonna choose. We'll see if we're choosing the same one. And
I watched that video and I chose the same one also.
Did you really?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
I do a lot of them. I've done a lot of them with where I've shown the example of how I do it. I turn it over, 3 packs, turn over the top card, and I choose this one. But so there's more than one video like that. I'm gonna be revamping the site, the channel, and try to put more into the playlist and try to stay more on top of that. I got too many videos now not to. I need to organize it better because there's just
Yes,
many of them.
just organize them because they're all wonderful in their own. Like, these are all full spreads that I am going to elucidate or kind of organize them in that way. And I had a question for you. What are the advantages or that you would look to when using the 6-4 spread versus the Celtic cross?
Well, the only advantage I really think that I see with it is the 6-card force you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the 6-card force
is
which
based
is a
on
rare spread.
That's based on Edward de Bono, a creative thinking tech consultant, and he doesn't use tarot cards with that. He just uses the 6 topics, and what does he call them? Here, let me see. Forgot what he calls them. Oh, the 6-card force. Yeah, okay, that's
You have it either in the
okay,
essential tarot or the
combining. What can be combined with it?
How does it
question?
differ from a Celtic cross when you're utilizing it?
Well, you're looking at different aspects. You're looking at with a Celtic cross. I'm looking at what is the question? How do you see the question? What are your immediate objectives? What are you trying to accomplish immediately? What do you got going for you as an asset? What do you got in your corner? What's on your side? What opportunities do you possibly have in the future? What's the long-term goal, the big picture of this? And what has to be in place before you act? And I'm also looking at possible outcomes and finer details, things to look for. Those are the 10 things I look in, or the 9 things really, that I look in with my Celtic cross. With a 6-card force, I'm looking into, it's either, I think the 6-card force, I think is either, I'd have to look at it again. It's either I have a substitute, what could be substituted? What could be combined in your question? What could be adapted to or added to? What could be added to your question? What would, if you added something to it, how would that help you some way? What could be added to it? What could be modified? What could be put into another use? About your question? What could be eliminated? And what could be reversed or rearranged? And that comes out to the word scamper. S, substitute. C, combined. A, added. What could be added? M, modified. P, put to another use. E, eliminated. And R, rearranged or reversed. And that's the creative consultant that made that is called Michael Machalko, and that's called Scamper. He doesn't use tarot cards. He just looks at those 7 things, and you try to find answers to your question with those. What could be substituted here? What if I combine something with it? What if I added something to it? Not combine things that are already there, but added something new to it. Or what could be modified in here somehow? Or what could be put into a different use in here? What could be eliminated and what could be reversed? And that is what I think I use for the 6-card force. There's another one that might have been, and I'm not too sure if this is what I use, and that was Ed DeBono. That scamper is a oh no, that's not it. No, that's a 7. That would be 7 cards. That's scamper. The 6-card force is based on the 6 thinking hats. The 6 thinking hats are Ed DeBono. And again, he doesn't use tarot cards, but he's used the 6 thinking hats in all sorts of places, Fortune 500 companies, governments. He's used to help to find answers. Huge projects. I think he's from Australia, Ed DeBono. And the 6 thinking hats are what you would do. Let's say you had a board of directors and you're arguing about something. You can't come up to an agreement on something. Half the board thinks this way, half the board thinks that way, and they're not meeting. You're going to use the 6 thinking hats. First, everybody's going to put on the white hat, and it's an imaginary hat. The white hat is what good things can you say about this issue? Now, everybody in that table has to come up with something good about this issue. So that means that the people that are against it still have to come up with something good about it. And they'll do it because they want to look good here. They're on the board of directors or whatever. They will. They force themselves to look at something good about it. And then we put on the black hats. Now we're forced to look at something bad about it. So even if you're for this thing gung-ho, you got to find something bad about it. And the other hat says a green hat, that's for coming up with, getting creative and come up with a new idea about this, a new way of seeing it. I think the red hat is my own personal feelings about this issue, whether it's good or bad. How do I feel about it? And I don't know what, I forgot what there's another, the one hat though, I think it's the blue hat, is conclusions. All right, now we've gone through all these. What's the confusion? Oh no, well, the other one is information. What information do we have on this issue? What information do we need to find out if we don't have on this issue? So everybody has to contribute there for that. What other information should we find out? Do we know enough about this? Do we know enough about this?
Is that yellow?
That might be yellow. That might be, yeah. I'd have to go
And-
back and look.
And blue is the conclusion.
I think blue is the conclusion, right? And
Yeah,
what I did,
they almost follow chakra colors, but that's interesting.
okay, all right. So I made a card spread out of that, called it the 6-card force. Because what
Mm.
you're doing, this is a good spread to use if you're looking into something about yourself. And I might have said that in Radical, I think it's in Radical Tarot. Because now, if I'm really hell-bent, I really like this issue, let's say. Well, I'm forcing myself to see it in a positive way, but I'm also forcing myself to see it in a negative way. What are the bad points of this? What are the strong points of it? And I'm also looking at other things, like, do I have enough information on this? How can I get creative about it? What are my personal feelings about this red hat? That allows me to say, okay, is that my personal feelings about this getting in the way? Is that why I'm so positive about this? Because I really think a lot of it. Is that why I'm finding more good points about it than bad points? Or vice versa? So it allows me to step out of myself and look at this issue from different aspects, even if it's against what I personally feel about it. And so that's a good spread if you're looking to find answers for yourself. It's also a good spread for somebody else too, but it really is good for yourself. Because trying to read yourself, it's with a Celtic cross, let's say, you could be biased about it. You know, you're gonna find anything you want in those cards. But the 6 thinking hats forces me to think a certain way. I'm forcing myself to find bad things about this thing, even though I feel real good about it. I'm forcing myself to find new ways of seeing this thing, even though I like what I'm seeing right now, too, with the green hat. I'm forcing myself to see my own personal feelings about this and then wondering, is that affecting my judgment here in any way? I'm forcing myself to see if I have all the necessary information on this. Maybe I saw this and wanted to believe that this would be good. But how much information do I really know about this? What am I taking for granted here? What am I assuming to be that might not be? Can I back up everything I think about this with facts, with information? Can it be verified? That helps me get out of my mind and look at these. And then at the end, the blue is, all right, now that I've looked through all these things, what kind of confusion, what kind of result or decision am I going to make on this after I weigh out all the facts?
Wonderful.
Yeah. And look for Ed DeBono, DEBONO, the 6 thinking hats. And you'll
Yeah,
find he's got
what's interesting also is that it's not just a intellectual exercise. It's pictorial and it creates a container, a hat, and it gives it a color, and so it gives it emotion. It gives it a lot of things, and also because it's a container, it allows all of these facets and parts to come on to be put out and seen.
Well,
So,
yeah, he made this an application. Instead of saying, okay, we're going to get together, we're going to talk about all the good things about this thing. Then we're going to talk about all the bad things. Or sitting together and say, well, tell me what's good about this. And blah, blah, blah. This person says something, that person says something. Then, okay, tell me what's bad about this. Then that person says something, this one. No. We're all sitting together. We're all going to put on a white hat. And we're all going to find good things about this thing right now. Whether you're against it or not, we're all wearing a white hat. You got to tell me something good about this project. Now we're taking off the white hat and we're putting on an imaginary black hat.
It's like the magician hat. They were changing now to the
Yeah.
this one and that.
And it's imaginary hats, but you're telling them, okay,
Yes.
all putting on a black hat now. We all got to find something bad about this thing.
Hmm.
And so you're forcing people to
Imagine.
a certain way, and
Yes.
they can't get out of it.
Right. It's wonderful.
Yeah. He is he's really
And the fact that you chose it, you recognize that that is a pairing that goes very well with a tarot reading. So
Yeah.
kudos to Vince.
Yeah, well, that's just it. I really do feel that a card spread is a creative we look at it like a creative thinking concept today.
Mhm.
Whether it's Scamper from Michael Michalko, the substitute, combine, add, modify, put to another use, eliminate, or reverse, or the 6 thinking haps, the white, black, green, red, blue, yellow.
Mhm.
Tarot readings, those are just issues of anything we're looking into. A Celtic cross, those positions are just aspects of anything we're looking into too. The only
Yeah, all
difference
three are
is,
different. Yeah, they're different, all three, but they,
yeah,
yeah. So one refines, one forces, the other one is sort of refines and forces, and the Celtic is can do so as well,
yeah,
but is initially is more universal. You know, has all the, you know, it's a little more encompassing, but with someone like you who can read it, you can also make those other applications if you wish to
well,
with
yeah.
a Celtic cross.
Well, you start to see the importance of these meanings. Scamper wouldn't work if I had substitute, if I put in there salami sandwich. Well, it doesn't help me with anything. You know, these are important issues that would be helpful to find answers to a question, any question.
Mhm.
And
Wonderful.
that's what I think a card spread forces us to look at. If the card spread has helpful positions, if the card spread has useful, good positions, the meanings are good, they can be very, very beneficial in a card reading. And a lot of sources, this is where it really bothers me. A lot of sources will imply that a card spread is just saying position 1, position 2, position 3, position 1. This card means that, blah, 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 blah. Position 1, this card means past. Position 2, this card means present. Position 3, this card means future. No, these cards do not mean the position. The positions are past, present, and future. The card is placed in the past and interpreted in some way that benefits knowing about my past. The card is there to give me ideas about my past. The card isn't my past. The past is on the table already. 3-card spread. You don't see it, but the reader knows you're doing a 3-card spread. The past, present, and future is on the table. Just nobody's seeing it. This card placed into that position helps me find answers for that position. So the card and the position they're placed into are 2 totally different things. And a lot of people think the position is just a place to put a card. No, position is a question. The card is an answer.
Mm.
Also, Vincent, you could also you have all these positions and they mean things, but when you sit down and do a reading and you place the cards down, sometimes the cards will tell you a completely different meaning from what you think you really had first of all in that position. It can turn out to be in a reading completely different.
It could be something to be corrected. It
Yeah.
could be something to be corrected, and that's okay. that's where
Yeah.
intuition starts to come in.
Yeah.
And you start to say, well, normally I would see this way, but something's telling me here to see it a different way. And that doesn't have to be every position like that. It could just be one position that's really screaming at you, and that's fine. You know,
Yeah.
it could be just one. It might, maybe it'll be 2 or 3 or 4, but really all you need is one.
I was just about to ask you about the 3-card spread, and on you went. So we
Okay.
just giggle and rejoice how you, let's say, for lack of a better word, read my mind.
There you go. The amazing Wizzo.
It's so much fun when that happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, the last time I did a 3-card spread.
Hey,
Hey,
your hand.
Hey,
How's your
Vaughn.
hand?
Hey, Yvonne.
hi guys.
Welcome
Yeah,
back.
I'd like to say that I did this doing something really fabulous like skydiving or skiing. No, I just was walking. I turned around and my damn slipper got tangled up and I just
Oh.
went boom. So I
Ooh.
shattered my wrist.
Oh,
Is
man.
it
Wow.
broken? Is it broken?
Yeah, like in 3 or 4 different places.
Oh, Vaughn.
Yeah, when I break, I do it good, you know.
Yeah.
Mm.
Then I hurt my shoulder, this side too. It's like, yeah,
Oh,
that was the day after my birthday, so at least I had a decent birthday.
jeez.
It's my happy
gosh.
belated birthday present.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
So yeah, hang on one second. There's somebody at my door. I'll be right back.
okay. You
Okay.
go ahead.
Vince, I wanted to say really quickly, I'm sorry I skipped out. You were kind of talking to me about what I was talking about. My dog got poisoned the other day, and that was the Food and Drug Administration on the phone about a new bag of dog food that might have been the culprit. So I had to take that call, and I'm sorry that I ran
Oh,
out.
yeah. No, take it. Yeah.
How is he? How is your dog?
He is absolutely perfectly fine.
Oh,
Okay,
good.
okay, good,
He
good.
spent the night in emergency, and I thought he was going to die. And
Oh,
Wednesday was the hardest day, and
mm.
but he's like totally back to normal. And yeah, I didn't even think I was going to make it to the vet in time. But
Ah,
so I'm trying to figure out what he got into, and I had opened a new bag of dog food, and we were checking, and it looked weird. So I was checking with the FDA about testing the food. So they call me. So I just grabbed the call. So I'm sorry
Yeah.
I skipped so fast.
What was weird about it?
It was a different color. It looked visibly different than it had in the past. So, and I had been feeding the same food for a long time, and
What did the FDA say? Did they find anything?
they took information. They took a lot number, the bag, the company who made it.
Oh, okay.
When they make a batch, they have a number. So they just took all the information. They wanted to talk to the vet and stuff like that. So, but I
Did they
didn't.
take a sample? Didn't they take a sample?
They're deciding. They said if this was awful, they said if the dog had died, they definitely want a sample. But since he didn't, that they don't necessarily want a sample.
That's weird.
So
Yeah, what did I miss?
yeah,
Mm.
but I don't know. I'll show you.
I'll be
him.
right
He's
back. Don't go away.
curious.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
He's totally
look
good.
at that.
He's
oh,
4 pounds, so
cutie.
That
he was
neat.
he's my little guy. So
Yeah.
but
Oh.
yeah. So I didn't mean to just like run out of here when he was answering my question specifically, and I just like took off. So that felt really rude.
Well, that's important.
No,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
understandable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so what did I miss, you guys, since he's walked away?
Um,
Been going on.
just explaining together with Gilda about the Celtic cross and the 6 force or 6 hats and the force and so on, and just a few questions backwards and forwards. So
Okay, cool.
He was
Cool.
clarifying
nothing
the
new.
difference
Yeah.
Nothing
between
new,
the
she says.
spreads that he utilizes.
Yeah.
We were talking about the 3-card spread right now, and I was about to say that Mary, this is old news to you because I've already told you, but I
Yes.
did, there was an art walk and I did,
Yeah.
I set myself up to do readings, okay, and sell some of my art. Well, I got more readings than I did selling art, so it was kind of fun. But I did 3-card spreads each time, and just to switch it up, I used an oracle deck versus the regular tarot deck, right? And
Which one?
it's called the Ocean, and I got the person who created that. I think she's from New Zealand, but anyway, it's a neat deck, and it was interesting because like Vince was just saying about past, present, future. When I was reading when I did the readings, what I basically told the client was, okay, look, I'm gonna read each card as they come out. I go, and then I'm going to read them like a story and tell you what I see, right? And it was pretty good. I mean, I had people tearing up, and people were, and then afterwards, I'd ask them, well, does this resonate with you? And they're just like, oh my God, yes. And then there was one client that I did the 3-card spread, and I wasn't feeling like I was getting the answer that they, the message that they needed to hear. So I did 3 more. I put 3 more underneath the first 3. And when I did that, it
Underneath,
was all
not on top.
like on the bottom, like I put 1, 2, 3, and then
Okay,
1,
so
2,
you
3.
could still see the first row.
Yes. And so, but when I did that, it was almost like completing the paragraph, the whole story. So it was pretty neat. It was interesting because I'd never really done full on readings the whole day with oracle cards. Usually it's with the tarot deck. So it was kind of neat. And like how Vince was saying that, it's I think when we have the placements, it helps us to read the story, to see, to get the information like, okay, well, this is something that you've been dealing with, or, this is what you've had in the past position, right? And it might not be like the distant past. It might be like like the recent past, like what they were dealing with, just, regarding the current situation. Anyway, it was interesting, and I had a really good time doing the 3-card spread. And then I took some affirmation cards, and at the end of the reading, I shuffled, and then I had them pull one affirmation card. And when they did that, it was like, okay, this is your message from the universe. And the deck itself is called The Universe Has Your Back. And so they pulled a card and they read, and man, I got a lot of teary eyes. I forgot to set my table up with Kleenex. And I told them, one lady, I mean, her eyes immediately started getting watered up. And I said, no, no. I go, you can cry if you want. I go, but just know this, you're going to have to use your shirt because I don't have any tissue. She laughed, and it made it lighter. And then we were able to continue with the reading, but it was pretty spot on. Yeah.
Wonderful. Did you use a different deck for the affirmation cards?
Yes, the affirmation card is the one, the universe has your back. That's the name of the deck itself. It's kind of cool. And
Yvonne?
Huh?
Yvonne? Hi, Yvonne. Sorry to hear about your arm. Can I just ask, Yvonne, with the Oracle deck, did you read the words, or did you actually just use your intuition through the pictures? Because I know a lot of oracles have got words, haven't they?
They do. A combination. It was this particular deck only has like one word, and it had basically, they were all the symbols on the card, or the images on the card, basically related to the ocean, right? Sea life and different things, and it was interesting. And one of the questions was, and the young man came and said, I want to know if myself and my partner are going to have another child. And we already have one child, and we're thinking about maybe a second, but we're wondering about that. And so I kind of remember the current position, was it was a seahorse. It was like a little seahorse with its tail wrapped around like some coral. And when I saw that, the first thing that came to my mind was, like the king, a king card, because it just looked like masculine energy. But if you think about a seahorse, it has both, right? A seahorse
Yeah.
has both masculine and feminine energy anyway. And I said to this person, because when I was looking at it, and I was thinking to myself, look, this is interesting. And so I asked the person, I said, are you seeking advice from like a counselor or maybe, I don't know, somebody in reproductive studies or, what? And the jaw dropped and it's like, oh my God, yes, we have. And I'm like, I mean, it was pretty impressive. The cards help, but it's like you do get some help from the words and maybe the image, but also I think when there's a message out there, it's like you do get that intuitive thing, and it does come through. I was just telling them about a reading that I did at the art walk last, like I said, it was last month. Or no, it was this month. So we're still in August.
Okay.
And yeah, I used the oracle cards instead of the tarot. I had my tarot decks, but
Okay.
for whatever reason, the oracle deck was just like saying, use me, use me. And all the messages that came through were pretty solid.
There you go. Yeah, you could use, it's a random deck of cards with ideas. So that's just as effective as a tarot deck.
Yeah. Yeah.
You did a good reading with an oracle deck. People get all, they get all concerned about which tarot deck to get. Is this one better than another one? No, whatever you like. It could be an oracle. It doesn't have to be a tarot deck. And that's great. You see, you're able to see things. You were talking about a seahorse. There must have been a seahorse in the card or something. But whatever, it gave you the ideas. It made an effective reading.
Yeah, it did. It was interesting. Yeah, to say the least. I always laugh because while I wasn't reading for anybody, I was thinking about the things that you tell us. About just anything can go right with the message. Right. And I was looking across the street, and I saw a bottle, like a pop cap, bottle cap. And I looked at that and I thought, well, see, there you go. There's a message somewhere. Somewhere in that pop cap, there's a message.
Sure, you could look at that and say, yeah, right. Or you could look at a message in a bottle.
There you go.
There's all sorts of ways you could take and make some symbolic meaning out of that might be useful in your question. Mm-hmm. Of course, you see it in a whole different
blending.
way.
It comes back down to conceptual blending, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah.
Right. I just went out on the back porch, and on the railing, underneath the railing, there's a wasp nest right there. I leaned on the railing like this, right underneath the railing. I'm wondering why all these wasps are flying around. I look underneath and there's a wasp nest. They don't bother me. I'm not bothering them, so they leave me alone. But there's a wasp nest. So what could a wasp nest be telling me? Maybe there's something, I could put meaning into it if I want to. I could find what symbolism of a wasp or the nest or whatever. I could look and using my mind now for some symbolic meaning of that. I'm not going to bother. I'm not looking for none. But if I want it, but you can assign meaning to different things, like a bottle cap or a wasp nest or the Six of Pentacles. Doesn't make any difference. The only thing about this is we're very familiar with these cards. Yeah. I'm not familiar with a wasp nest or a bottle cap, but
I'll share the wasp nest familiarity. If they are in the middle of their breeding cycle and you come out, and this has happened to me. Oh, they're friendly to me. And then one day I come out and all of them at once came at me, and I had 15 bites or whatever, which You need to
Really?
it was horrible. Yes, so if they are right at the point of breeding, they protect it, and they will
Okay.
come at you even though they were friendly before. So
Okay.
that's something to look out for.
Yeah, those turncoat
Be warned, man.
wasps. Those
Keep
traitor
vinegar
wasps.
around.
Just when I
Keep
thought I
vinegar
could trust
around.
them.
Just exactly. That happened to me as well.
No,
Keep
no.
vinegar around.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I got bug spray out there too if I need. So I'll
Well, you could say for the wasp's nest, they were taking care of home and family.
Sure.
yeah, right. Yeah.
Well, they're very well organized, aren't they?
They
They
also
all
make
come out and
paper.
sting you at once.
Yeah. Didn't that where paper came from? Isn't
Paper?
that where idea of paper came from? From China was the wasp nest?
No.
Oh, I didn't know.
I don't know. That's what I thought I remember hearing somewhere.
I thought it was from Egypt, Vince. Papyrus, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is papyrus
Yeah.
paper? Is that a paper?
Yeah.
Papyrus, yeah.
Yeah.
But that has
think it-
nothing to do with wasps, though, does
No,
it? Papyrus?
No, I don't think so.
No, I don't
It's a
think so either.
plant. It's a
So,
plant.
Yvonne,
Okay.
did you answer their question about they was going to have a child?
You could
Was
have a
that-
child or a seahorse.
Oh.
Yeah, did you answer their question, Yvonne?
Oh, did I
Was they
answer
going to
that?
have a child? Yeah, sorry.
It looked very favorable, but I
Oh,
told
okay.
him, and I asked him. I said, look, I'm a reader and I'm kind of curious, and so I go, do let me know what happens. I go, follow this lead. Whoever it is that you're obviously already seeking information from. Seems like it's a wise person. So yeah, let me know what happens. I go, my studio is, and I gave them the number and I gave them my business card. I go, I'd be curious to know how everything works out. If I'm not there, just slip a little note under my door. I'd like to know. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if they actually do. But I mean, this person went away. Oh, one of the things that I did for each reading, before they left, I had them pull the oracle card, and they loved that. And then I offered up a smudging, with the sage. And I said to them, I go, would you like to be saged? Smudge. I go, smudge sounds kind of dirty. I go, would you like to be saged? and they said, oh my gosh, yeah. So I would, it was outdoors, so we were able to do this kind of stuff, right? So I lit up some sage and my abalone shell, got my feather, and I said a couple of nice things to let them go in peace and to be able to resolve their situation. And they loved it.
That's nice.
Yeah, I just got to remember to take tissue, because apparently I make people cry.
Oh, jeez.
In a good way,
Yeah.
But it was quite lovely. So, yeah, I think, like Vince says, it's like, it doesn't really matter what deck you use or what you use. If you might not use the deck at all, if the messages come through, but it's a tool. It's definitely a good tool to have the decks, right?
Here's a good example of, we were talking before about, meaning of the card versus an intuition.
Mhm.
I think you were saying instinct and intuition. Gilda said
Yes.
that. But here's an example of how I see intuition. I'll give you an example of this reading I did. And a woman came down, sat down for a reading, and she was one of these people who are very a skeptical type. Doesn't want to tell me anything. And so I throw a cross, and the first card of the cross was the Tower. So I'm asking her, I said, well, you got any questions like that? Well, just tell me what you're seeing, I know. And I looked at the Tower and I said to her, just intuitively, I said, don't be afraid to have children. That's the first thing I said to her, was don't be afraid to have children. Don't be afraid. And she didn't say a word.
And
So
you
then I
see,
did
that's
her-
interesting.
Then I did her reading,
Mhm.
and it was all casual stuff. She wasn't telling me anything, so her reading's pretty general. And then she's saying, well, I'm saying, is this going on? She's, no, that's not going on. Is this going on? No, that's not going on. And she's being very kind of skeptical. And so finally at the end, I said to her, I said, okay, well, look at, you paid for a reading here. What is there anything you'd like to tell me that we could help out with? And she says, she said, I had a miscarriage.
Oh, wow.
And I don't know what else she said about that. I don't know if she was wanting to know if she could still have children, or she should try to have a child again, or what. But she said I had a miscarriage, and I think she wanted to know if she should try to have a child again, or I'd have forgot. But I said to her, I said, the first thing I said to you when you sat down here was, don't be afraid to have children. I said, so try it again. You'll be okay. And I saw that tower as don't be afraid to have children before I said anything to her at all, before I knew anything about her, before she asked me a question, or she didn't ask me any questions. That's intuitive. Because it doesn't make any sense to me to say that to her.
That's interesting.
And well, what's really was nice is, like I said, she was really expressionless person, no smiles, no nothing. And the next year, it must have been the next year or a year and a half or whatever it was, she came back. We were working up in Green Bay. I think we had a monthly psychic fair there. So about a year and a half. She come back for another reading where I didn't even recognize who she was. She had this big smile on her face, and she had a baby carriage with her. And she says, here you go. She said, you told me don't be afraid to have children.
Nice.
And she had a child. So that's why I remember her. And I remember the tower first card.
Right, because you see the tower, that's not, I mean, how does that connect to babies, right?
Yeah, right. How you
Right.
can't say if I wrote a book on tarot cards, the tower card means don't be afraid to have children. No. So that's intuitive, and that's just going to come to you without you even thinking about it. What here's the thing, why another reason why you remember, if you start reading Pro, I said those words to her, don't be afraid to have children. First thing I said to her. At the end of the reading, she told me I had a miscarriage. Should I try again? Or whatever. If I didn't say don't be afraid to have children to her right in the beginning, and she told me that at the end of the reading, I would have been kicking myself in the butt for not opening up my mouth for what I felt about that reading being don't be afraid to have children. So you'll do that. You'll still be times when you're thinking, I'm not going to say that. But sure enough, later on in the reading, they're going to say it to you. That's when you start saying it. After that, you're going to say, that's not going to happen again. If I get that feeling, I'm going to open up my mouth and say it. Because I don't like them telling me what I knew 15 minutes ago. And you never told me nothing. And because you start to get to know what that feeling is, and you grab it and you say it, bam. That's what'll start happening with you. It'll start happening.
You just got to trust it, right?
Yeah. Because if you don't, they're going to say it to you later on, and you're going to be kicking yourself afterwards saying, why didn't I say that?
It's like, yeah.
And it's like,
I knew it.
I was but if you say it to them then, like, oh, I was thinking the same thing. That's so what, they said it to you, but if you say it to them first, it's just nice to have. It's also a confirmation to yourself that it really does work. And there is something there with that intuition. But why would I think
Thank you for the clarification. Thank you for the clarification. I had a question about the 3-card spread. Why this now? And you just explained it. Why this now? Well, because you zeroed in on that with your intuition and whatever else. and the image in the card, you zeroed in on why this now instead
Okay.
of just anything else. And she didn't really clue you in, but you were able to go right away to not just the position, what the card means, and all of that. It is all of that and why all of that now.
Yeah,
We
I
use we
was
use
forced.
DreamWork, and that's how it works. It's not about the story, it's about how all of that right now has a bearing on the mutual morphic space you're both sharing, and what one can mutually benefit from the engagement.
Well, that was just it. I was trying to connect with her. That's the first thing I said to her, and she didn't say nothing. And so then I'm trying to find I'm trying to find things that are going to be useful for her. I'm talking about your career. How's that going? How's your relationship? What is this going on? And she's not telling me nothing. And it's just like the rest of the whole reading was just bouncing off the walls here. And then at the end, I said, all right, well, we're not getting anywhere with this. I said, why don't you tell me what's going on with you? Something like that, I said. And she said, I had a miscarriage. And I'm thinking, should I try to have children, or should I try to have a child again? She didn't want to tell me that again. And that's when I said to her, the very first thing I said to you is, don't be afraid to have children.
You know, that probably floored her. I mean, when you said that, that's probably why she had nothing to say. She was probably like, damn, this guy's good. I haven't even said anything.
Usually they'll open up a lot after that. Then,
well, that's kind of a heavy subject, though. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, maybe. And but I just know that even after the reading, she seemed to be very shallow with me, But when she came back later on, a year later or whatever, with that stroller, she had a smile on her face so big lipstick was on her ears. From the, her mouth was so wide. So I mean, I barely recognized who she was, and so,
well,
just a different person.
And that right there is affirmation for you, right? Because I mean, even though she left and you felt like, was that even a good reading or not? The fact that she came back a year later, that's
for
good.
Another reading, right? Another reading, and with a child in a stroller.
So
And I've had that happen before. I've had it happen before where you're at a fair or something, and they'll come by with the stroller and say, "Here, this is what you predicted. This is what she is. They're right here," and I don't even remember doing the reading. So
I'll just share how that story points out that humans versus AI using the tarot, the reading cards, has a morphic field which AI cannot pick up.
Yeah.
And you just explained it beautifully.
Yeah, right. Yeah, AI would never do that.
Yeah,
Vince, can I ask a question, please?
Go ahead. Yeah,
Vince, how do you approach just a yes and no answer, Vince? Do you just there's loads of different ways. How do you approach it?
Well, I won't say yes. Let's say the question is, let's just, okay, we'll go back to the baby. Are we gonna have a baby this year? Yes or no? I won't say yes or no. I'll say, I'll look for things that will help you be a yes. If you want to have a baby, I'll look for, here's what you need to do. If you want to have a baby this year, the best way to try to do that is to be this or this and this. And that's what I'll tell them. I won't tell them, you will for sure. I'll tell them, it looks good. I think you will if you do this and this and this. If you have a lot of stress, your challenge, I won't tell them no. Let's say, well, he's never home. He's a wreck from his job. I'm a wreck because of the finances or whatever. so they're both stressed out. I'll tell them, it looks difficult but it's not because of you two, it's because of the situation you're in. You got to get rid of this stress. You got to get rid of this stress. You got to get out of this bad slump you're in right now. Once you're out of your slump, then you'll be more relaxed to have children. That's what I would tell them. So I give them advice about how to do it.
If I can just add,
I wouldn't say to them.
Sorry, Vince.
I wouldn't say to them, no, you're not going to have a kid. I would tell them.
So you'd never, Vince, you'd never use the situation of just turning over one card, and if it was upright, it would be yes, or if it was in reverse, no, or sort of three cards where the middle card would be worth 2, and the 2 outside cards would be worth 1.
No,
it's nothing like that, Vince.
No, I don't do that. That's like flipping a coin.
Yeah.
And I've seen sources say the card comes up upright, it's a yes. If it's reversed, it's a no. I've seen people. I've read that in books. I don't believe it.
Yeah.
No. But I tell you how I will tell you the best way to increase your chances of having that kid, or if that's what you're trying to do. And I think that's a lot more useful to them than just the flip of a card. Oh yeah, you'll have a kid. No.
And would you use the Celtic cross for that, Vince, or would you use like a smaller spread for yes and no? Or does it depend how you feel?
I would probably still throw. I'm just guessing. I would probably still throw a cross down, and then just look at all the cards in the cross and be open for suggestions for whatever I'm seeing. You know, but I do know one thing. What I do with readings, no matter what the question is I ask a lot of questions. So I would ask them, how's the situation at home? Are you two Are you two have time together? Or is everything okay? How long have you been trying? Have you seen your doctor? Have you tried fertility pills and all this medication? What have you done? What efforts have you made? How long have you been trying to have a child? Do you have any children right now? Was there something that happened? I would want to know all those things. And as I'm talking to them about it, I would be looking at the cards for anything I could see that's giving me a gut feeling too. Yeah. That's how I have.
Thanks, Vincent.
Gut feeling would be intuition. The gut feeling would be instinct.
Well, I think
intuition is when you kind of pull it out of thin air. But gut is definitely instinct.
Okay. All right. But I also think that if you're looking at it that way, when intuition does come into it, you spot it real easy. Because you're looking at it this way. Now, this comes in out of nowhere. Oh, what's this about? So it's easy to see. Where if you're just looking at a card spread and thinking the whole thing's intuition, you can't. It's like having a radio with 10 stations going on all at one time. It's just a bunch of noise. But if I'm looking at things very grounded, very open to intuition to come in or give me ideas, as I'm discussing rational and logical aspects of the thing with them, then this comes in. You see it clearer. You see it stands out from everything else a lot clearer that way. I think that works for me. Makes sense? I think a lot of people look at the card spread thinking every position is supposed to be intuitive.
That's a very important point.
Yeah, I don't think it really. No. I'm looking at aspects of a question, whether I got cards on the table or not. My number 1 and 2 position of my Celtic cross is what's the question? If a friend came to me with a question, say, Vince, I got to talk to you about something. I would be saying to him, well, what's up? That's what positions 1 and 2 is. What's up? What's the question? How do you feel about it? Number 7. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. Whatever. So I mean, you could almost do a card reading you could do a card reading like a conversation without even throwing a card on the table. just go over all these aspects of the card spread and you're having a conversation. What do you got going for you? What do you hope? What do your plans are for the future? You got any immediate goals? What's your big picture? What are you ultimately trying to accomplish? What do you got to get in place before you move forward? So these are things you would ask a friend if they were talking about anything.
Yep, I like that.
Yeah, and then as you're talking about all these things, and you got the cards out there, and you're looking at and you're seeing what ideas you're getting that will help you with this. If something comes in off the wall, it's intuitive, but you'll see it easier because it stands out more than if everything's looked at like it's some intuitive thing. I've done readings.
Vincent, do you know that?
Go ahead.
So, Vince, now the intuition, do you find it kicks in more when you go over the reading again? So now, like you've done your Celtic cross, and then you start to look at it again, and you start to go through it, and the story sort of comes more together, and the intuition kicks in then, or not?
I would say it has no rhyme or reason because, like I said, I could take that reading I just told you about. Don't be afraid to have children. That's the first word that came out of my mouth about position 1 on a Celtic cross, the tower. First card I saw, don't be afraid. And that was before the reading really even started. First thing I said. So I think it doesn't have any real pattern to it.
Yeah, intuition does not follow human clock.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. It doesn't. There's no rhyme or reason to it.
Like that.
There's really
I like
no.
that. Good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
I think it's good to have something to be intuitive about. And that's, I think, something to correct intuitively or adjust intuitively. That means you have to look at it rationally and say, well, normally I would think this, but in this case, something's telling me that.
So it seems to me like the intuition isn't in every reading either. Some readings, like all of a sudden something comes in and you just say it, but you can do a lot of readings and there's no intuition or not much showing up. And I think a lot of readers think that every reading should have lots of intuition, but I don't necessarily. Well, for me anyways, it's like some readings, it really something comes in, but other ones, there's not a lot there.
I think a lot of there might be innovation, something, a new idea, and a lot of people might look at that as a reader might think, well, I got that from intuition. Well, no, you just got a new idea. That's not intuitive. So yeah, you're right. I think a lot of readers think anything that I say, if I got this deck of cards in my hand, is some special mystical intuitive power. No, I don't think so. I think you're right, John. I think you could do a lot of readings and nothing intuitive came up at all. Maybe it was very innovative or very imaginative. You got to try to give them something for their money.
Yeah. Well, I know that I've been doing a reading and then just said something, like it's way up, comes from a different place, but that doesn't happen in every reading, and then some of those are really intuitive or, really hit a place, but
yeah, well, that's just it. I think that's right. I think it's good.
A lot of people think that every reading's going to have a lot of intuition in it, and I don't think it's necessarily there.
I think intuition is I think a reading opens up that part of the mind, and it's the right brain thinking, and I think it opens up imagination, and I also think that that's the same gateway that your intuition comes from. But I like to look at intuition like I use the analogy of fishing. I could set up everything to go fishing. Maybe the fish aren't biting that day. I'm not going to get any fish, but maybe they're really hitting hard. Same with intuition. I might set it all up to be very intuitive, have my tablecloth, maybe a candle, incense going, my tarot cards, my favorite deck, lighting's right, everything's right there. And I'm not getting anything. Or maybe I am, but
Well,
you just never know.
to add to what you're saying, it's like, it might not feel like we're getting anything, but I think the key here is that if it resonates for the client,
Yeah,
then, then it's coming through.
right. Yeah.
The message is coming through, whether it's just us reading and interpreting the cards, but when we're opening our mouth and telling them what we see,
Right.
it doesn't necessarily mean that it's, like something, magical coming from,
No.
We're just telling them what we see. And
Right.
if it hits the mark, with them, if it resonates with them, then right on. That's what we're here for.
Right.
If
Right.
it doesn't hit the mark, guess what? They'll walk away and they'll either think we're a joke or whatever. And then later, maybe it'll resonate and it'll hit them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
and even if it wasn't the message that they wanted, it's going to make them think. And I think that is the point too, because it's like, pardon my French, but they might walk away saying, yeah, that person's full of bull.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And then they go home and they think, yeah, that reader was so full of baloney. I could have done this. I can do that. We did our job, because
Right,
now
yeah.
they're thinking about how they can resolve their own stinking problem.
Yeah.
I mean, because we can only do so much, we can interpret what we see. And if it doesn't meet eye to eye with the client, then it doesn't meet eye to eye, but it will make that client think. And, and maybe they'll go home and they'll say, you know what? I don't need a darn reader to tell me. All I have to do is start saving money and I can make that trip,
Yeah.
or whatever.
That's true.
I
Yeah.
I always say when we start off, they have a question, and I always say, well, you might have a question, but you might not get an answer that you want. But the cards may give you an answer what you need.
Okay.
That's how I always start off the reading with. We'll get an answer. It might not be what you want, but it will maybe what the cards think you need. So,
Well, okay, that's cool to say.
yeah.
But I do feel, like I said earlier, it's ultimately what's going on. Somebody's sitting across from me because they got an issue they want to find an answer to. And if I give them an answer because of whatever the reason is, and it works, who cares where I got it from?
Exactly.
Whether it was intuitive or just common sense or something out of my imagination, whatever, if it works, and they assume that if a card reader did it, they got it from this. Well, you get it from this. I'm just using this as a tool. I could use oracle cards to get the same thing, like you did, Yvonne.
Yeah.
Did you forget this? This.
Yeah, you know what, Gilda, you're right. That's right, Gilda. You got to have intent. Your intent has got to be, I'm here to help this person. And I tell people that every class I do, I tell people right in the beginning, when you're going to get your first start to read pro, you're going to be nervous. And it's, oh my God, can I do this? And I say to them, just keep in mind, I'm here to help this person. And that helps you get rid of that nervous butterfly feeling in your stomach.
Right.
I'm here to help this person. I'm going to do the best I can to have this person find clarity in something they're looking into. And that it takes all that pressure away. Because you're telling yourself, my intent is sincere. I'm not here to fool them on something. I'm not here to impress them with something. I'm here to help them. And that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
there's a mutuality, a
Mhm.
mutual resonance that takes place, whether we call it out or not, that not only do they benefit, but also the reader benefits from the experience. And that's really key, that when one gets over involved in, well, the cards are saying where they're placed, whether intuition, gut, or whatever it is, without, then one cannot be present to that mutuality, which is what's going to resonate the answer that's appropriate, that is as whole as can be, according to the resonance you have with that person. That's why sometimes I think that John mentioned, oh, there's no intuition coming in, because the resonance with each person is different, because
Yeah.
we're all different.
Yeah, if a person's, if you're reading a skeptic, their reading's not going to go very well. For one thing, if a person is a skeptic, I'm not going to try to impress them. As long as you put that money on the table, I don't care. You know,
The way
you don't want to believe, you want to doubt me, go ahead.
well, and the way I see it too is that they're coming to you. You're not looking for them.
Right.
They're coming to you. So automatically right there, you know, that should tell you that they're the seeker. And whether they want to be clammed up and you know be skeptic, that's their prerogative.
Right.
But they're coming to see you.
Yeah.
So you do what you do best, and you
Yeah.
read the cards, and you go in with good intention, and and be sincere, and that's that, you know. And you know, at the end of the reading, if they think, you know, oh, you're full of baloney, I'm not going to pay you, what are you going to do? Chase them? What are you going to chase them down? Nothing. You're just going to let them, you know, be them, and you know, you can't convince somebody to have something resonate with them. If it resonates, good. If it doesn't, you know, you did your best. And besides the fact that they were the one who was looking, they were the ones coming to you.
And also, just another thing,
Mm.
don't throw a card over till you get paid. Always get paid.
Yeah.
Always get paid first.
Yeah.
Vince, can I just say goodbye to everyone?
Oh yeah,
Oh.
you know.
Bye,
Otherwise-
Michael.
I've got to shoot everyone. Yeah, lovely to see you all.
Nice
Take
to
care.
Okay.
So I'll see you
You
all
take
again.
care,
Yeah.
Michael.
Take
Good
care.
to see you.
Bye, Michael.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye. You know what, Vince, talking about skeptics, I had a couple by the last festival, and they sat down, and the gentleman said, I asked, "Are you? Do you know about tarot cards?" And he said, "Yeah, oh yeah, she wants the reading. She's into that thing. I'm not. I don't believe a damn thing about it." Okay, so we did a reading for the lady, and it was about an hour I took in that, and it was he was sitting. Oh yeah, hey, oh yeah, and they
Yeah,
finished.
yeah.
And when it finished, he said, "Well, I know. I said I don't believe, but could you give me a reading too, please?"
I believe that. Yeah,
yeah.
I
So
believe it. Yeah,
yeah,
and it's great to read two people. You know, like you say,
Yeah.
you're reading to one person, and then their partner or somebody sitting right next to them, because you're getting the confirmation from them, the partner.
yeah, yeah,
They're nodding their head. Yeah, that's their head. Yeah, that's true. You know,
Yeah.
they're just talking right. Yeah.
yeah.
And-
But he started off being a big skeptic. He didn't believe a damn thing, and then he walked away, and he was, you know, he'd had it as well.
I believe
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like group readings.
Mm,
I like that, and
Yeah.
because it's easier, because
Mm.
you got all their friends. If there's more than one, maybe there's two or three of them, and
Yeah.
if they're around, they're saying, yeah, they're feeding you too information.
Yeah.
And it's makes the whole thing go real good. I
Mm.
love.
Question about your 3-card spread.
Yeah.
When you first place the 3 cards, and let's say you're doing, do you keep placing them on top, or if you do another 3 set above the same and going left to right, or in the bottom, or do you play around, or you put it on top and you never look at which one is underneath
I
on
do
that same pile?
I do them in layers, so right on top of the other one.
Right. So do you look at what's under the one underneath?
Yeah, I'll do that. So if I got cards on, as we're talking, I'll look at the top card. I might look underneath it and read them both together. And even like lots of times, people have more than one question too. And so they're asked one question, you throw over 3 cards. If you're going to do a 3 cards, I'll do it across too. And then they ask another question. Man, if I don't see nothing with this original spread, I'll throw over another spread on top of that first spread. And sometimes the combination of the 2 cards from the previous question and the card above it now on the second question, sometimes they work together to find an answer for the second question too. Even though the card was looked at differently for the first question, it might, or they might be a combination of maybe these 2 things are affecting each other, these 2 questions. So yeah, it's nice to, I like them in layers. I do like the layers.
So do you, let's say you do 3 cards and then you said, oh, you're going to do one for clarifying. Do you put that one in the center? Or do you always, when you add extra cards, begin again from left to right, the same sequence? So if you pull out one more card, you will put it on the first left rather than in the middle. So are you consistent in that way?
I'm always consistent about the way I lay them down. It's always left to right if it's a 3-card spread. But I might read them differently. I might look at that center card first and say, this is affecting these other 2 outside cards. Or if it makes more sense because I like to try to take 3 cards and make one story or one sentence out of them. So if I got to rearrange the meanings, I'll do that. Maybe start with the center card, go to the 3rd card, and end with the first card. Or go with the first card, then go to the 3rd card, in with the middle card. I try to go 1, 2, 3, left to right. But if I see it meaning something better, starting with another card and going the other way, I'll do that, yeah.
So you always use 3 cards if you want to add another layer. You will not do just one for a final clarification.
I don't think I don't know if I've ever done just 1 card.
Like a crowning. No, on top of the 3, you wouldn't just pull one and say, oh, this one crown. You will always do 3 on top of 3.
I won't say always, but I think that's pretty much what I do. Yeah, I think so. I can't say for sure. I would say overall, yeah, if I'm going to throw another layer down, it would be all 3 cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see me really just throwing over. Let's say I threw over 1 spread and then I throw over a second spread over that first one. I don't see me ever just putting 1 card on 1 position for a 3rd layer. I would complete the layer and put cards in position 2 and 3 as well, not just in position 1 or one of the positions.
Always in the same order.
Yeah, I always lay them down left to right, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah. That's just me though. It's just what I do.
That's what I do.
Okay.
It works for me. That works for me too. I think that what you're, is it Gilda?
Yeah.
If you're putting down 1, 2, 3, and then there's, either that's going to resonate with them or not. And if it doesn't resonate, that's for me. That's when I put down the 3 more. I think the only time I would even consider maybe 1 card on top is to maybe to affirm something. If it's something that resonates with them, it resonates. But if they wanted like a crowning message, maybe one. Here's the thing. Like Vince was saying, it's like you do the spreads that feel right to you, and and work with it. And if something is, if you're doing a 3-card spread and you get this idea that you want to do 1 more and just 1 more and put it at the top, then there's a reason for that. That's what makes it uniquely you or uniquely me or whatever. personally with the cross, I find the cross a bit of a challenge.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. And it's because I think it's like so much information, right? And I have to get better at it. But I feel that if I'm doing the 3-card spread and then another layer of the 3-card, I can even do like a 6 to 9, right? Boom, 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 which is in essence is a cross anyway, right? But it's just how you're laying down the cards and if it makes sense to you or not.
Well, you could also look. I know I've done this. I've done a cross, and done a reading. Maybe I didn't. Maybe there's a position I didn't even use. I don't have to use them all. Yeah, I know I've done that because I've had because lots of times I'll be pointing to the cards. I'm talking to them, and I've had people say to me, "Well, what about this card over here?" And they're pointing position 8 or position 9 or something. I said, "Oh yeah, I forgot about reading that." So, but I did the reading without it. So
How does that work for you? Like if, for example, if someone did that to you and said, "Hey, well, what about, that card there?" Would you tie it in? Or yeah, I mean you could tie it in, right?
yeah, but usually it would happen because we took one aspect of their question pertaining to that issue, or the position, one of the positions really hit home with that aspect. And so we've gone more in depth with that, with the reading. And maybe position 5 or position 9. And we start talking about that. And I also, what I know I do is I'll look for patterns with other cards. So maybe let's say it's position 9's really hitting home with me, with this person, or really talking. I'll look and see what the other cards look like and how they relate to position 9 as well. Even though that wouldn't be a sequence I would normally use, maybe position 1 and 2 really fit well with position 9. And I'll just blend them together in conversation. I don't move the cards on the table, but I'll talk about positions 1 and 2 and position 9, and how they seem to complement each other. Yeah. But again, there's no rhyme or reason to what that would mean. I think like I said, there's nothing's correct or everything's correct. It's all correct. So whatever you like to do works. And I'm sure no matter what you're thinking about doing, I'm sure I've met card readers that do it that way. Because everybody does it different.
Yeah, I think there's something related to the way one perceives in geometry, that if you suddenly you look at this line, whether it's not the 3 that the layout that you usually look at, then you suddenly see a line or a curve, and it kind of starts moving, but it moves because you can connect and create a shape. And that's why I was, and that shape speaks to you, and you say, "Oh, well, this is connected to that," and that is related to geometry, which is related to form and movement. So we are moving the narrative as we go from place to place. And that's why I mentioned, for example, I used to play a lot with the Celtic cross, and then at the 10th position, I go about, and then suddenly I'll pull out another card and put it on the left to the 10th position, and another one on the right of the 10th position, and then one on top of that. And that creates a triangle. And it's almost like an arrow. So
Okay.
I say, if I furthered the 10th position, it looks that way. Now that's a little risky because you're moving beyond the perfectly laid out 1 through 10, right? No,
Right.
numerologically speaking, there's 9, and then you're again starting again with 1 and 0. So so that just one can do that endlessly and play with geometry, and then the whole narrative changes. It just furthers or goes beyond or whatever, lands or
Well,
different
yes,
things.
I agree, Gilda. You know, I agree. And you'll find cards that interact with each other that you would have never thought about being that way, but you see it. That's on the table. You see it there. So maybe position, like I said earlier, maybe position 2 and 9 and 5 in that order really show you something. You know, a story. These 3 cards. Just you saw it, go ahead and say it. You know, don't think, well, that's not, I'm reading that out of order. If I was reading 1, 2, and 3, that would be proper. But 5, whatever the cards were, 9 and 2 or whatever I said, that's not proper. Well, if it gives you an idea, it's proper.
Mm-hmm.
You see something in there, I say, whoa, I'm seeing this message right here. Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
It's a message and you saw it.
Yeah, like let's say 5, 1, and the next one next to the right would be 8, I think. So that and the one that's slanted, that creates a line right there that sometimes speaks.
Yeah.
And
right.
You know, when one has down your pointers, you know, what we're looking for, the why, when, how, and so on, then the next layer is playing around with what else shows up for me.
Well, I agree, Gilda. I think you're right. I like it.
So we're very appreciative at your pointers. We've never met anyone. I mean, we learned it intuitively since way back. So we appreciated that you brought home these 3, you know, Hermes Trismegistus, right? There's 3 ways of realizing, and that's really wonderful.
I think it helps. I think it helps.
It's more than helpful. It's very grounding.
And it makes sense, and it makes it more reachable, I think, you know, to see it, to approach it that way, especially like you say, the intuitive side of things, to know that not every position's got to be some intuitive, profound thing, you know, but
not to get lost on the, you know, so I think females are more kind of a less yang about things. So this kind of puts it down, and then you can traipse from there.
Sure.
As it happens. So that's important. It's kind of, so that's again the mutuality of finding that grounding together with the rhythm that may develop.
Yeah, women are more men are more usually seem to be more grounded.
I think you have to be careful not to overcomplicate things.
Yeah, well, yeah, right. And the stereotype of men are supposed to be more cut and dry, and women are more open for suggestions, type of floating around here and there. That's stereotype, though. I think in order to be good, no matter what you are, you need to have both. you need to be able to have the open for all sorts of things coming at you, but also have some type of structure. And I think what's missing with most of the typical approaches to the tarot, that structure isn't really there. I mean, it's there, but not really talked about as an important thing. It's more
it's
like
not really there. It's usually they think it's there because of the type of spread that one is using, like a map. Oh, we're gonna go this way in this map, or this way, and do the type of spread. But it's not a structure really. It's just a little path to see what happens. And you gave it yours is more of a open structure, and that's really helpful.
I like me, you know, going around.
What's that? What's that?
Kind of a meandering path, you know, kind of. I you know when I do readings, I go all over the place, and then kind of a theme comes through, and then that I follow. And some of the cards I won't give much attention to at all, because a story came through going through this way that seems to really relate to what you're dealing with the person.
Mhm.
You know, and another way you could look at it, as a simplified labyrinth. Every spread you throw, you can look at it that way and think, well, for the most part, I read this way, this order. But it's always good to look at your spread, especially with like a Celtic cross where there's 10 cards on the table. What cards fitting together here? Maybe this position, that position, this one over here are working. And on another reading, maybe this one over here with that one over here, this one, they're working. Look for 3-card patterns and showing you like a blinking light, some type of a message coming at you. And I think you'll start to see those right away. I think you will.
That also helps to learn the deck, because you learn who's friendly with who and so on. And it's not because someone tells you, oh, this one, it's because you can actually experience it when you're doing a reading.
Yeah, knowing the meanings on a deck of cards, I think, should be, no, you don't have to think about it. And knowing the positions on a card spread, I think you shouldn't have to think about either. Those got to be like second nature to you. So that your ideas, you can focus more on new ideas for this person or the next person or whoever. At least have that as a consistent. I know this deck like the back of my hand. I know this card spread like the back of my hand. Now I'm going to find with new ideas because of your situation. You're sitting across from me. Let's look at what we got to look into here. And I'm going to use this structured pattern that I know very well to help us find ideas. I think it helps you a lot if you can do a Celtic cross card spread or any spread, 3-card spread. You can do it in your sleep. That's fine. Don't think about it.
You could also just make up your own spread. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not very keen on the Celtic spread, cross spread. I don't like to work with it.
Okay.
But you can just make a spread that works for you with your what they mean to you, and you don't always have to use a Celtic cross.
Right. There's such a variety. I think that's what's a good way to look at it. There's variety there. And we like to look at things when we're learning something as what is specific.
Yeah.
There's only one way to do this. What's the right answer? What's the right answer? And really, there's all sorts of right answers. And that's what gets confusing. People look for that one correct way. And that's not a good way to try to learn it, because you're going to find all sorts of different ways.
Yeah.
And
especially when they're new, when you have new coming into tarot the first time, it's overwhelming. There's so much, but one thing is consistent, that every book that I've ever seen, there's always the Celtic cross. So that's kind of like the standard basic way to learn. And then from there, then you can you can branch out and do other types of spreads and see how it works for you, right?
I think the Celtic cross, I think the Rider-Waite deck, when it first came out, if I remember right, it had the Celtic cross in it. The yellow box.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it is in that little white book.
Yeah. And I think other decks after that put it in there.
Mm-hmm.
Before, though, the Marseille deck, if I go to an old Marseille deck, I don't have one here, but if I go to one, there was no Celtic cross in that spread, in that booklet.
No.
Matter of fact, I reproduced a book, the Celtic cross manual. What do I do with it? It's here somewhere. I had it earlier. I reproduced the Celtic Cross manual, and I made it big. And I just did a YouTube about it. And here it is, right here. This is it.
It's hiding. Oh.
This was in a deck of cards this size. I blew it up. And it was written in French and it was written in English. I just did the English. This is Tarot Marseille BP Grimmett manual for their book, for their cards. And they don't have, they got a medium draw, a full draw, a tarot table spread, and that's it. Drawing a cross, but it's not a Celtic cross. Drawing a cross. It's not a Celtic cross. And it's that's the cross.
Oh, there you go. Uh-huh.
So, but there was no Celtic cross in there. I think U.S. Games is the first one to come out with that. I mean, they're the one who got the ball rolling for the Celtic cross. And after that, when that deck took off, any deck of cards that came out after that put the cross.
Cross, yeah.
But they were the first ones. I remember when I first started reading, they didn't have they had spreads, but there was no Celtic cross spread.
Is there something behind Celtic that makes it Celtic?
I think somebody just got it. They thought it would be a neat spread to put in a book.
Yeah, because if you look at the Celtic cross itself, it's, you know, the circle, the cross, the
Symbolism from mysticism.
Yeah.
Symbol of mysticism. Yeah.
Well, the Celts, yeah, the Celtic people. Here's a spread. The table spread.
Table spread kind of looks like the horoscope spread. The horoscope spread, yeah.
Zodiacs.
And zodiac, thank you.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Where they have the 12, yeah. Which is the same thing as an annual, right? Because it's 12 months.
Yeah.
This is the spread I talk about in the book. This one here, this is a spread. This is called the half draw. I thought it was called the full draw, but it's called the medium draw. And this over here, where the cards are in here, they're showing cards there. That section there with the cards was for men. This section in the center, where you would lay cards out for a woman, and this over here would be laid out for a child, for children.
Interesting.
Really a bad idea. You know, but there was a lot of them back then. But so yeah, what I'm gonna lay out cards for all those positions. But I'm reading one person. Why would if I'm laying out a woman, why would I put out cards for the men and for the children? And or if I'm reading a child, why would I put out the men and the women's cards? It doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. But anyway, they were very confusing, and this was very confusing, and this was translated from French. There's some misprints and typos in here, and it was a real mess. That didn't make it any better.
But anyone starting out, Finns, and they don't know what to do, and the Celtic cross is quite complicated. They should just start off with your 4 points.
My 4 point spread?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. The four wins. Oh, the 4 points.
Oh yeah, those are nice.
Yeah.
Like
That's a really good one to start off with, and it gets you into the rhythm of it. And it's actually, when you go to the festivals, everyone's doing a Celtic cross, and you're doing something different, which is better.
Here's what they had to say about this. So you buy a deck of tarot cards, and this is in there. The art of playing tarot cards. Playing tarot cards.
Yeah.
The art of playing tarot cards is for the mind to receive images information, and guidance, which should be registered immediately and expressed into words. Registered immediately.
Immediately.
This can only be done by studying the 78 cards of the pack, usually referred to as the arcana, and which are divided into two main groups, 22 major arcana, 56 minor arcana. The ways to draw the cards have been described in various eminent works. In this booklet, we give abridged ways to draw the cards, illustrated with concrete examples. Concrete examples. The interpreter is expected to know, without any hesitation, the meanings of the cards either on its own or in association with other cards that influence it. A good knowledge of the cards combined with practice, observation, and intuition will do the rest.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, that'll do the rest. Intuition will do it.
Easy.
Yeah. It just does the rest. That was it. So,
So how do the four winds differ from the 3-card spread?
the four winds has a random fifth card in the center. So you only use the major arcana on the four winds.
There's that random.
And then you add up the numbers of those four major arcana until you get another number that is of 22 or less. And that card, so let's say it's 18. You come up with the number 18. Seeing that's a major arcana, the moon, that would be your fifth card, and you'll be laid in the center. If you came up with 23, there is no 23 major arcana. So you would take 5 and 2, or 2 and 3, and come up with 5, which would be the Hierophant.
Oh, so it's not random, really. You're just adding up all the numbers.
Yeah, you're
It's
adding
not
up
random.
the numbers.
Okay.
Well, yeah, it's not randomly selected. It's, no, I guess it wouldn't be random. It's right. And with the four winds, if the number you come up with is already on the table, let's say it's number 12, and that's the hangman. You come up with 12. But 12, hangman's already on the table being played. Then what you do is you add up the numbers again, minus the hangman card, and come up with another number. And that number would be what would be thrown in the center. That's how it works.
That's interesting because without you saying that, I thought, well, to add, and then I wonder how that would work. Because there's 2 of them now. And you take one out, which is the same as the one you're putting in, then it gives you the same number because it's the same card.
Yeah, if it's already on the table, you can't put it in the center.
So then you have no center card.
Well,
Because
what
if the
they're
center
saying
card is the
is-
same as the one you're taking out, then you're again just using the same numerology.
maybe that's why it didn't become a big popular spread.
That's actually not the one I meant, Vince. I meant the one that you go how, and then what, and then why.
Oh, the
And
4 points. The 4 points.
The 4 points, yeah, the 4 points.
Yes.
The 4 points.
The 4 points, what's nice about the 4 points, and well, what's good about that is there's a common card for all 4 aspects.
Yeah.
You're looking at what, why, how, and when. They're all 3-card spreads. And the center card on the 3-card spread for all of those is the same card.
Yeah.
So what's nice about that is if I want to take another look at that reading, instead of throwing over another whole spread, I could just take put in one card in the center and use the same other cards surrounding it and get a whole totally different reading now.
Yeah.
Because this one's blended with the other cards. And
Do you have a video on that spread, Vince?
Yeah,
I do somewhere.
yeah,
I'm gonna
on
have
YouTube.
to, yeah,
On
Okay.
YouTube.
I'd
Yeah,
like to check
YouTube.
that out. That's funny because I've been starting to lay my cards that way. Like it's 9 cards, right? 3, 3, and 3.
actually it's what, why, how, and when. 2,
Yeah.
4, 6,
Oops.
8, 9
How,
cards, right?
when,
It would be
yeah.
it's 9 cards, correct.
I've been laying 9 cards, and then I look at the center card. This is just kind of without each position being a representation, but I start with the center card as being kind of what the focus is of the reading, and then I start reading around. So that's interesting.
Yeah,
But I'll look for that video. I'd be interested in checking that out.
Yeah,
I'm
it's a
looking-
it's a really neat spread. I like
I
it.
probably got a diagram of it here, so I'm looking
You
right now.
do.
I got one somewhere. I'm not sure if I got it here or not.
And I just rearranged in my room so I can't find it, but I have it on on a cardboard where I did the diagram, and it's kind of cool, but they're 9 cards.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
why I said they're good to start when you're starting off with. That's a really good spread to start and easy.
I
It's
got
almost
one
a
here.
3
I
card
got it.
read, but
Yeah.
it goes this way, that way, and
Yeah.
up and down. It's very cool. I like
Yeah.
that one. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
call it 4 winds, but it's 9 cards.
I call it the
4
four
points.
keys.
4 points.
Oh, 4
4
points.
points,
And is
right.
4 points the same as 4 winds?
1, 2.
No, it's that's a different spread.
Okay, thank you.
What is it? Who, what, why,
No, what, why, how, and when. Here's
what, why, how, and when? Yeah.
here I got a copy of the way it works. Let me share it here. Share this thing.
So which one are we looking at? 4 points or 4 winds?
4 points. That's the 4 points.
Oh, yeah.
There it is.
This is the one I meant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's the 4 points.
Yeah.
And the center card is a major.
Mm-hmm.
Now these cards up to top to bottom, and the major is a 3-card spread going into what is the question. And then left to right, the center card being a common again, is how are we going to get this? These 3 cards. And this is why is this way, I believe I had. Why do you want this in your life? Upper right to lower left. And when is upper left to lower right. This card in the center is common for all 4 of those 3-card spreads. If I want to look at it in a different way, I would keep all these surrounding cards in place and just throw over another major in the center. Now I got another way, a different 3-card spread for each one of these because that center card has been changed.
Oh. So this is just all majors.
No. The yellow one in the center, that's the only major. These green ones would all be minors.
I see.
And how do you choose that major for the center?
The way I do it is I would start putting the cards out onto the table, starting up here with this 12 o'clock position. If it's a major, if it's a minor arcana, that would go there. If it's a major, the first major that I throw out will go in the center, right here. So the first card, let's say I throw over, the first card I throw over, I got the Page of Pentacles. That would go here. Second card I throw over is the 4 of Swords. That would go here. Third card I throw over, I got the 8 of Cups. That would go here. 5 of Swords here. I still haven't thrown over a major yet. King of Swords here. Lover's card. Lover's card wouldn't go here. Lover's card is the first major I'm throwing over would go here. Now I've still got to complete this circle. So now the next one I'm throwing over is the Fool card. Well, I already got a major. So I'm not going to use, I don't use that fool card. I leave it right here in this position, and I throw another card over the top of it as a minor. If it's another major, I just keep throwing cards over until I get a minor here. So I got a 7 of wands here. I had a fool card here. That's a major. I can't use it. I throw over the 7 of wands over the top of it. Next card I throw over, King of Cups will go here. Next card I throw over, 9 of wands will go here, and that would give me my spread. The only reason I do it that way is this way you don't have to take all the majors out of the deck and separate them from the minors. I just throw over cards, and the first major that comes up, I throw it in the center. Any other majors that come up as I'm putting these minors in position, let's say I get a major here. I just leave it there, but I throw another card over the top of it as a minor. If it's another major, I just throw over another card over that one until I just keep throwing cards here until I get a minor, and that's what I use. I go to the next one. Let's say it's another major, tower card. I leave it there. I throw over another card over the top of it. It's Ace of Swords. I'm good. Go to this one.
So do you consider that underneath there are majors, underneath the minor they are so majors? Is that a consideration you entertain?
You can. You can. You could also sit there and say, okay, this major here, I'm going to take this one out. And the second major I threw over, which is underneath here, over here, I'm going to put that here now and read this. See how it looks. Let's say I got another major over here underneath. I can take this major out, put that one in there and read this whole, and I'll get all different aspects just by changing that one center card in the center.
Will you go down in order? Do you go down in order? Let's say you're going to change that one for one major that's underneath the minor. Would you begin again from noon up and go down, work your way, or you can pick any that suits you?
Any way you wanted to. Any way you wanted to. Yeah. Sure.
And are you viewing that center card as like the focus of the reading or the focus of the situation?
Well, it's affected for every aspect of the reading, what, why, how, and when. So you could say it's a
I see. Okay.
Yeah, you could say that.
You're reading the lines, and then that's in that line of 3.
Right. So let's say this was a tower card in the center. This is a 3-card spread. What is the question? What are we looking at? Left to right, another 3-card spread. This card's still the same. It's still the tower, but I'm reading this as a 3-card spread. How? How are we going to get it? What, why, how? This is what, why, how, and when. So what, why is this way? And this is common. This one in the center just doesn't, you know, it's used for all of them. What, why, how, and when. And you can read them in any order you want. You want to read it this way to that way, or this way to that way. It doesn't make any difference. Whatever works for you. But now if I wanted to throw over another major and put it in the center here, I'm leaving these all the same, the rest of these cards the same. I'm gonna get another whole look at a whole different look at this now. It'll all be different because this one card has been changed.
That's very cool.
Yeah, it's a neat way to. I think it's something I never saw anywhere before. So I think it's got a lot of potential. So I did this, and I did the three was this. This is the 4 points. No, is this the four keys?
4 keys, yeah.
The four keys and the 3 points. The 3 points. Which is a 3-card, it's a triangle. And a triangle, every corner is a common card. I don't have a copy of that here. I might have to do another spread on that. A YouTube on that.
Yeah, it brings home, for example, in a painting, you just add one dot of a color somewhere and the whole thing changes. So this is a metaphor. This does the same thing. One, you change the center and then all the other variables react differently.
Yeah.
And that's very cool. Very cool.
Here's another.
And where are your triangles? What
I
do you
don't
mean
have that.
triangles? What do you mean by triangles?
3 points.
Oh, the lines that you're moving across? That's a line, not a
I don't know
triangle.
what I'm doing here. All right, here, wait a minute. Here's another example of that spread. Are you seeing this here?
Yes.
Okay. Here we have a major in the center. And these would just be all minors in here. I was going to make this mat without these card positions and it just the center. I never made it, but I was going to make that.
Didn't Lynn make one?
Yeah, she did.
I
Well,
think she made one.
she made the mat. It was funny because I think I got it here. I
And
made
she
it.
did to you.
I made the mat actually. I made the mat for a YouTube.
Right.
Stop share. Stop share. Let me see if I can find that mat.
Anyway, when he was
She
talking
loved
about
it.
the triangle, he
She
meant like
loved it.
oh,
What's
sorry.
that?
I was just telling Gil that the triangle that Vince was talking about, that map that you had right now, you just basically go to the very top, the lower right and the lower left, and that makes your triangle.
Okay, yeah.
Am I right? Okay.
But
Because
but
she was asking that, and I kept pointing to the screen as if she could see me.
oh,
Yeah,
Well,
but
there's
the,
many ways of getting a triangle out of that. So I'm wondering which is the one that
yeah,
he
but
uses.
the 3 points one has one at the top, has the triangle, and then in between an extra card.
yeah, there's 3 cards.
3 on one side, 3 on the other side, and then 3 down across.
Here's the mat you're talking about, Yvonne.
Let's see.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I made this mat to demonstrate how the 4 keys worked. I not to make, and Lynn liked it.
Yeah, I like it too. It's pretty
So
good.
I said, okay. She said, can you give me a copy of that file? She said, I want to make a mat out of it. I said, sure. So I sent her the copy.
Anyway, you know what, you guys, I'm gonna have to run.
Yeah, me too.
Actually walk.
Yeah, we're all. I was
Okay.
going to try to end this at 2:30 at the latest. Here we are, 20 to
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Look,
No,
it was great. It was great seeing all of you.
Nice.
okay.
Wait, before we go, well,
Yeah.
I was curious about Mirko.
Yeah.
He's one of our new
Mirko.
guys. Talk
Yeah.
to us. He never, I don't know, was I late? Did he introduce himself?
Yeah. He did
Yeah.
introduce himself to start off with. Yeah. Where he's from Italy.
Yeah, Mirko, glad you
And
came. He's gone
yeah.
now. I don't know. He's on mute and he's not there, so I don't know what happened.
Oh,
But
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
He was just starting off with tarot cards, and he was trying to combine it with music notes.
Ooh,
Yeah, interesting.
that sounds cool.
we're gonna
Yeah.
do it again
Mirko.
next month. I'm trying to see when we're gonna do it again next month. And I would imagine it's probably gonna be probably like the 21st,
End of the month.
maybe the 28th. I'm not too sure,
Hmm.
but we'll know for sure. I'll know for sure. I'll put it up on the website. I'm gonna plan on it
Yeah.
being the 21st,
Okay.
and we'll see.
Good.
We'll see if it might change, but I'm hoping not. So that's a Thursday, the 21st, And we'll try to do it for then again. And our
Okay.
tarot maps gathering, our Zoom meetings will be the 12th. That's the second Tuesday of the month,
Okay.
12th of September. So
There he is. He came back.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. I'm here.
all right. Well, Mirko, glad you made it. We're gonna be shining off here. And John,
Thank you very much for having me. Yeah.
Mary, Yvonne, everybody,
Uh-huh.
all good to see you.
Yeah.
And
Yvonne, take care.
Linda.
Yvonne, take care.
I will. I'll say hi to Linda, and I'll tell by your
yeah.
hand. We'll send some healing energy your way. Yvonne.
Please.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Please, I need
Okay.
it.
Take care, everybody. See
Yeah.
you
All
again.
right.
Bye all.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone. Bye.
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 Bye-bye.
John, Mirko, take care.
Ciao. Ciao.
See you later.